the woman opened a meat bun shop, but she never used pork for the meat buns she made. Whenever a lecherous man entered her room, the next day that man would vanish as if evaporated. At that moment, the woman emerged carrying meat buns. Although the meat buns she made were incredibly delicious, she never allowed her daughter to eat them. As a result, the daughter had been curious since childhood about what kind of meat her mother used for the buns. It wasn't until 10 years later, when the daughter became an adult, that she finally couldn't bear it any longer and wanted to uncover the secret. So she spent $100 to buy several of her mother's meat buns from a customer, and she couldn't wait to eat them as soon as she got home. Unexpectedly, she had just taken a bite when her mother knocked her flat on the ground. The daughter could no longer hold back and asked her mother again, "What meat are these buns made of?" The mother said it was pork. However, the daughter refused to believe her, because she had already asked the butcher, and the butcher said her mother had never bought any meat. Such a bizarre event made the girl even more curious. She suspected her mother had been using the flesh of those men to make the buns. To find out the truth, she waited until her mother fell asleep and then sneaked into the kitchen to investigate. She discovered her mother standing there holding a cleaver. The girl was so frightened that she collapsed to the floor. She asked her mother exactly what kind of meat she was chopping. The mother didn't offer any explanation, and then she pushed her daughter toward the exit. The daughter had only taken a few steps when she heard a strange noise coming from inside the house. She guessed it was the man who had gone into her mother's room, but her mother insisted there was no one else there, accusing her daughter of imagining things and mishearing. The more her mother refused to tell the truth, the more curious the girl became. She continued to ask her mother what secret she had been hiding all these years, and why she had never allowed her to enter the kitchen. Her mother said that once she brought her boyfriend home, she would naturally learn the truth. 3 months later, the girl returned home with her boyfriend. Her mother immediately took a liking to the young man. The young man was also attracted to the girl's mother's seductive figure. The girl had planned to use the opportunity to uncover the meat bun secret, but before she could act, her mother got her drunk. Then her mother began seducing the young man, and led him into the kitchen. When the girl woke up, she found that both of them were nowhere to be seen. As soon as she stepped out of her room, she heard the sound of meat being chopped in the kitchen. Just as she was about to open the door to look, her mother suddenly called out from behind, scolding her for not bringing her boyfriend home and forbidding her from entering the kitchen. The daughter believed her boyfriend was inside the kitchen, so she shouted his name loudly. Her mother clamped her mouth shut, saying that her boyfriend had already gone home. The girl didn't believe it and sent him a message to ask, and he replied that he had indeed gone home. Yet the sound of meat chopping continued in the kitchen. The girl was curious about who was inside, but for the sake of her daughter's happiness, her mother absolutely refused to let her enter, warning that irreparable consequences would follow. Seizing a moment when her mother wasn't paying attention, the daughter ran quickly and pushed open the kitchen door. It turned out to be her mother's best friend chopping meat in the kitchen. The girl looked around and saw nothing out of the ordinary, thinking that she must have misunderstood her mother. Just as they were about to sit down to eat, the girl suddenly noticed a shoe lying on the floor. The shoe was exactly the one her boyfriend had been wearing, so she questioned her mother about why her boyfriend's shoe was there. Her mother immediately became nervous and had no explanation. She told the girl to go eat first and that she would explain later, but the girl insisted on finding out first, so she began searching for clues in the kitchen. This frightened her mother and her friend. They hurriedly stood in front of the freezer